Hey, this is Captain Paul Brawley with Fish Finder Guide Service doing this week's edition of Texas Fishing Tips. We're going to be looking in some of these bigger flats for speckled trout using corks and shrimp. You can also use croakers on a number 7 hook. I always say I prefer the Four Horsemen cork. It's a great cork. You want to use about a 20-inch drop, 18 to 20-inch drop, because this water's going to be deep. You can put you a little pea weight on there, 1/16 inch ounce pea weight, somewhere in the middle of your line, live shrimp, and we're going to be making long drifts on these windy days across these big flats. They're super long drifts. They take 30, 45 minutes to go across them. When you get across to the other side, you're going to come way back around and pick a new line and run across. We're going to be targeting speckled trout and redfish using the corks and shrimp. If you decide you're going to use croakers, there's a lot of sand holes out here in the middle. What you would need to do is you need a power pole down, and you're going to want to free line those croakers using a number 7 cow hook. If you would like to use shakers, the bait shakers are pretty cool. I use the very smallest ones they make. Some people would like the bigger ones, but with the flood tides we're going to have, that whole area right in there is probably going to be holding some pretty nice trout as well as some redfish. Moving on to the south side of the CPNL channel, you're going to be looking in this big flat right here. It's actually named the Big Flat. The same methods. We're going to be using the popping cork and shrimp, Four Horsemen corks, about an 18 to 20-inch drop, possibly putting a pea weight somewhere in the middle of the line, and live shrimp, and making these really long drifts across here. When you get out to the drop, coming back around, picking a new line, and doing the same thing. There's going to be quite a few trout as you get further out in this flat, and then the closer to the intercoastal and this half of the flat, it's going to be a few more redfish. You could possibly start picking up some black drums on these flats. Typically, the drums are not moving across that flat until early July, but there could be possibly quite a few in that area coming up here real shortly, and you may run across some when you're fishing. Anyway, we'll be moving a little further south next. All right, we're going to be looking at the drop out here on both sides, the east and this west side drop. Primarily fishing with croakers. You're going to set up about 100 yards off the drop to give yourself a couple of moves forward. Power poling down using number 7 cow hooks, free lining croakers. We're looking for some pretty nice trout through there. Up and down this whole area, there's been plenty of trout. The bite is a little slower than it's been. The water's going to be way up, so just take your time. Don't be in a big rush. Just wait it out. Sometimes you'll wait 5, even up to 10 minutes and go through a couple of croakers while you're waiting for the next little batch of trout to come. Most all these trout are coming through in batches of 15, 20 trout. And if you could stop them in front of you, you can get a couple of them, sometimes 3 or 4 of them in a row before they move on. But if you start missing a bunch of them, which people are prone to do on croakers, that's when they kind of just are gone, and you may have to pick up your power poles, come a little closer to the edge, and keep trying. Over on the west side, this whole side here, you're going to want to stage up out in a little bit of deeper water. You'll see a contour line on your GPS. You're going to want to get just to the west, which would be on the King Ranch side of that contour line. Power pole down and start throwing towards the shoreline. Keep bumping up forward until you get in solid grass, and then when you get in solid grass, you may have to come out and run back around, start power pulling down, making your moves towards King Ranch again, using your croakers free lined with the number 7 cow hooks. Back over here, you have Hotel Channel, which runs right here. You have one set of spoils here, and you have this big flat behind the ruins that connects it to pure oil. That whole area, I'm going to kind of put a little X there, and this whole area have been holding a few redfish. My suggestion through there is to make long drifts from hotel out about 60% across this flat, using, down south lures, using Berkeley Gulp, Berkeley power baits. You can use the old H&H Cocoa minnow, gold spoons, just kind of rolling through there with a nice slow drift, and just throwing the lures way out in front of you. You will cast way more times than you will get fish. However, there are a few reds starting to show up in that area, so you probably pick up one or two each drift, or maybe just one, but sometimes one or two each drift. Anyway, right through there is a good location to try to start looking for reds. All right, let's talk about this further down, straight in from Bird Island on this west shoreline. We're still going to be looking at these drops right in here, all the way back down to about Pure Oil Channel. All that area there has been holding some pretty decent trout. You may have to go through a few little ones and a few oversized to catch your keepers, but that whole drop there with that grass line, you'll see a bunch of sand holes. Grass has had some really, really nice trout. Good 18, 19-inch trout. Like I said, you're going to catch some overs. You're going to catch a few unders. You're just looking to use your croakers, Freeline, number 7 Kell hook, all through that area. Once again, you're just going to get right to the west side of the contour line on your map, which is the depth line that kind of marks out the hole, and you're going to start fishing towards shoreline, bumping up 50 yards at a time until you get into solid grass. You're not seeing any more sand holes. Come back out, start the same procedure again all the way, and just keep bumping up and down the shoreline, and for sure you'll catch the trout needed to get limits for everyone on your boat. There's been quite a few in there. There are still some reds around these spoils, all these spoils, although they're really scattered, so you're not going to catch as many. You're going to catch one or two possibly in a trip. Maybe get your trout and go try to get a red or two around those spoils. I have not seen any significant numbers of black drums showing up on those spoils as of yet, but I will keep everybody notified as soon as I start seeing some. Anyway, that's our report for this week. Thanks for tuning in to Texas Fishing Tips. You guys be courteous and catch a bunch of fish.